Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and this is a StarCraft 2 England cast. Now today I have got a ladder game. It is simply from the Razer replay pack of the week and it is between LiquidSheth, the red Zerg player in the top left position, and EmpireBratOK, who is the blue Terran in the lower right map, a Hana, and that therefore means a ZvT, Terran v Zerg, and it should be a really good matchup actually. I really like Sheth, I really like Braddock, and I think these two should put on a good performance for us here today. Now, what are the qualities of the map? Well, firstly, let's take a think about this ramp and how the fact that it's very, very small. And that basically means that holding your natural base is quite easy to do. And the interesting thing about this ramp is you can actually wall it off pretty much completely, because you can knock out these rocks when you are safe, when you have more units on the field, and then expand down to a third and only really have to worry about defending this area. Especially applicable for Braddock, because he can put down, I believe it's 3 barracks that you can wall that off with. It may be 4, but I think 3 would do it. It should do. Anyway, that's just a great little maneuver. Now, I reckon Braddock will probably go, judging by the fact that he's got the supply depot there, either command center first or a 1-Rax command center. He's moving this SCV out, so it is going to be a 1-Rax command center. It's personally my favorite build. It could be other things yet, but I still feel that 1-Rax CC is the most likely thing, purely because it's a great opener, because basically it gets your natural base down quite quickly. You've got the barracks there for a couple of marines for defense or a little bit of poking and prodding, and essentially Zerg players always go for a 15 hatch against Terran, or at least they should. That means that while they do have that natural base up quickly to try and get ahead economically, if you've got your second CC out very, very quickly, you're on equal bases with them. And that puts a lot of pressure on the Zerg. It puts a pressure on them to take their third base. And that third base is a lot harder to hold generally. On pretty much every map on the map pool, holding your third is a lot more difficult. It also opens up the option for them to obviously do a 2-base all-in play. And neither of those things are something that you really want to have occurring. I mean, especially when you think about the options available to a Terran player. Now obviously we do see there that spawning pool is on its way down. We do have the orbital command on its way out as well now, and really just having a quick look, we should have the command center dropping. There we go. So literally all the timing here is as expected. Now while we're waiting for these two players to really go any further, because for the moment they're playing both very, very economically, let me just say, if you like any of my videos, any of my casting, please thumbs up, please leave a cool comment below, and obviously please subscribe, because I do get new top level pro games up every single day of the week. Sometimes I get multiple games up every single day, so check back whenever you're looking for StarCraft games to watch, because ultimately I put an awful lot of content out, and obviously the subscribe is great support as well. It keeps me really, really motivated to keep doing our content, and obviously the comments, hearing your feedback and guys, gives me the will to keep improving everything. So just taking a look here, we do have, well, a lot of drones coming out for Sheth, just 2 Zerglings. I think that's a good move. That allows you to pick off that SCV, and it's just a little bit safer. We've got the 2 queens. I'll be interested to see whether Sheth does stay just on the 2 queens, or if, like a lot of Zerg players now, will go out and get 4, maybe even 6 queens early on. Obviously that gives you good defense for a start. We do have that SCV getting picked off, just for anyone who is interested in watching it. The reason the 4 queens, or perhaps even 6, is good, because 1, it gives you good defense against things like Hellions or any kind of bunker play. But more importantly, I feel, is it allows you to spread creep very effectively, and now 4 queens will be on the cards. Now obviously that creep spread's so essential, especially on a map like Hana actually, because it's quite a narrow map, and if you have 2 channels of creep going either side of this sort of center islandy thing, you can get an awful lot of scouting information and spread that creep incredibly quickly and cover an awful lot of the map. And not only does it give you a good early warning system, it gives your units more movement, and it makes the Terran a lot more nervous about moving across and actually engaging a long way into creep. Now we do have these 4 marines on their way over. They're going to go and check for a 3rd base. And that's the right thing to do, because obviously we would assume that Sheth is aware of this natural, or he will be imminently with that overlord. So therefore Sheth's approach should be, well, I'll try and take a quick 3rd, and the fact that Braddock hasn't seen that 3rd will now make him think, okay, is there a 2-base timing push coming in? Unlikely, because we do have speed on the way, only the 1 gas as well. We'd need quite a few banelings and or roaches to do that. Roach 1 on the way, but Sheth now going to go and take his 3rd base. He does have enough money for it, and there we go. Those marines have already pulled back, and look at this creep spread. Already starting to creep across the map. We do have quite a few queens out now. Looking down here, it is at the moment Reactor Hellions coming out. We do have Stim on the way, 2 more backs being added on. Reactor Hellions are no longer so much about dealing damage, especially on a map like Ahana, when that map with ramp up to the natural is quite small, but it's much more about denying the map vision. Really stopping Zerglings, keeping the map control, denying creep spread, and really just trying to delay your opponent. And I really like the fact that at the moment BratOK has only got the 4 Hellions out. I hope he does stop there. I think any more than 4 is really a bit of an overcommitment, especially if your opponent has gone for roaches, as Sheth has. And now Sheth actually getting quite a few Zerglings and also that Baneling there, so we could see some 2-base roach Baneling play. That is very, very potent indeed. Now these Hellions are actually going to be able to get in, but out pop the roaches, and literally just at the right time in order to prevent that going down. One Hellion literally getting away by the skin of its teeth. The 3rd base nearly up now for Sheth. BratOK, he is starting to build this wall off of supply depots. He's getting up a starport, so we'll start that medevac production. Will be interesting to see whether he does choose to get out a single Viking first, because that allows you to pick off any overlords on the map, which can always be good. But for the moment, this is a very potent looking push. We've got a lot of Zerglings here, quite a few roaches. Well, how many is the roach count? 9 on the field already, and a lot of Zerglings in production. Now we should see some Baneling start morphing literally now. There we go, because the Baneling nest had just finished up. But Sheth doesn't even need those Banelings right now, because for the moment he's got a clear entry in. That supply depot is down, but there's no wall off. 2 supply depots can easily fall. And then of course the problem for BratOK is Sheth can very easily walk in with all those Banelings up and this infantry ball, and also the Hellions incredibly vulnerable to Banelings. Stim isn't quite yet done. It's got another 20 seconds on it, and this push is going to be dangerous before that point. Now we do have more Banelings on the way in, but it's going to have to take some good control by Sheth. He needs to do damage. He's committed a lot with this push, and up goes the Baneling. He knocks out those supply depots. More Banelings coming up, and there is no splitting of anything there. Huge damage being done. All the Hellions fall down. Quite a few Marines getting taken out as well. Now Sheth is in such a dominating spot. This could be game. I mean, Sheth not following up with any more aggression, but he's going to do so much damage. Those roaches should be able to do big, big damage there. 7 workers killed. In terms of the loss, actually pretty equal. But still, more SCVs getting picked off slowly now. Those roaches will get cleaned up, but is BratOK too far behind to come back from this? He's down to 27 to 52 workers. That is a long way behind. Of course, Sheth, he's even droning up behind this. So now, as we can see, BratOK at half the worker supply to that of Sheth, as demonstrated here. He's really a long way behind in terms of the worker count. Heals will help for some of that, but not too much. Now, BratOK really needs to do some damage now. He needs to kill a lot of drones, because otherwise he is not going to be able to economically get back into this game. Yes, he has Stim now. Yes, that +1 Terran infantry weapons is done. Yes, he's got the better tech in the form of the medevacs, and to be honest, Sheth, he hasn't even started Lair yet. He's only getting out that double Evo chamber. So my prediction is we'll see double melee upgrades. He's getting out the hatchery as well. So there's the +1 melee attack. There's +1 melee armor. So just as predicted. Now, this bio ball is going to have a big trouble dealing with this force, because obviously Zergling Baneling with a couple of roaches thrown in can be so potent. The Baneling's already out. The creep spread is good, not as good as it could be. Could be a little further forward, I think, at this point. But here we go. We've got the surround with the Zerglings. They're not able to pin all that infantry back, though. And for the moment, those Banelings are not able to get good engagement. A couple of Marines get picked off. And to be honest, BratOK just doesn't seem to have the units in order to carry on with this attack. And with the resupply from Sheth, who ultimately is up to a good worker supply, I don't think that BratOK is going to be able to do much. He does lift and pull back. That's a good move. He's got the 3rd orbital command on the way, or command center rather, which will inevitably be morphed into an orbital command. This starport moving, perhaps going to get a tech lab on it in an attempt to get, say, some banshees out, but actually, no, he's just going to use that to power some more medevac. Probably start reacting. Do you have the 2nd engineering wing coming down, but these Zerglings surrounding the 4th base for Sheth is going to get up undenied, and, well, Sheth is just in such a good spot. He is 3rd done on his lair timing. Now, big pullback. 1 medevac did stay, so that 4th base could be a little bit vulnerable, but for the moment we've got what looks to be a very large counter push. We need some Banelings in here, though. That is the big problem. We need some Banelings in order to deal with its bio ball, and for the moment Sheth doesn't have those. He is running around, though. He's going to be able to pick up some of these units unless they're lifted, and for the moment this little drop is irritating Sheth more than anything else. Sheth has lost more resources, but that doesn't really matter for him, because still, as you can see, a long way ahead in terms of the income and the work count, and also the base count now. Now, all of this does get surrounded. A good lift goes down. These Banelings are still going to be very, very irritating. The 1-1 upgrade's nearly done for Sheth. BratOK nearly done with siege mode behind this. He does have that 3rd orbital command. Those extra mules are going to help so much. And Sheth is running to the point now where he needs something about droning, and that is exactly what he's doing with 13 drones. It's literally like he is 1 step ahead of me, because he's that much better at me than this game, no doubt. But still, Sheth just doing very nicely. These overlord placements, absolutely brilliant to see where this medevac's moving. And still, I don't honestly feel that yet Braddock has caught up. Obviously, the 4th base has gone down, and this is before the 3rd base has even been taken. Obviously, siege mode is now done. The 2-2 infantry upgrade being completed now, as well as the +1 vehicle weapons. The 2-2 upgrade for melee units on the way out for Sheth right now. And he hasn't actually started bailing speed. That's something I quite like to get out quite early. I think that can help an awful lot with bailing mobility. But he has put his infestation finish now. I believe I saw that go down. Drops going off absolutely everywhere. And this kind of repeat dropping can be very irritating. But this drop now pretty much completely cleaned up. Only a couple of marines left and 2 marines and a marauder in there. The infestation pit is done. Pathogen glands on the way out. We do have down a BratOK base at the moment. A bit more production being added on, 2 reactors onto these barracks, another factory being built. That'll probably get some more tanks out. Medevac's still coming, a few at a time. And that medevac, I believe, has been taken out, unless I am mistaken. No, there is still one there. There's also a medevac down here, but that's not going to do too much. This 3rd base could lose a couple of drones right now, because ultimately not much of Sheth's army is around. The drone's getting pulled, but quite a few should get taken down. Now the Zerglings will come over, and this is good. This is good play by BratOK right now. He's able to deal just a little bit of poking and prodding damage. I mean, he's killed 5 workers, which isn't huge, but it's better than nothing. Hive on the way out for Sheth, who's getting some spore crawlers down as well, ready just to deal with any irritating play. Spawn is spying behind the 4th base, and now we've got a spore crawler coming down here at the 3rd. We should also see some at the main as well, just in order to deal with any of those spots. But for the moment, we've got so many Zerglings moving across the map. Only 3 tanks on the field as far as I can see. Obviously, siege mode is done. The 2-2 infantry and the +1 vehicle attack on its way out. Another drop coming down. The spore crawler did take out that medevac though. That's a bit of a loss. And Sheth bringing back all of his army, which I feel could be a bit of an overreaction. But so far, I think Sheth is going to go into Ultralisks. The reason for that is he hasn't yet started his Spire, and Hive is nearly done. And generally, you see the Spire a bit earlier. He could still go for Broodlords, but I think Ultras would be a good switch, because ultimately, he's got the upgrades for them already. He's got the Infestors with the fungal growth. Ultras are able to close up the gap distance, and if they attack clump-up units, they're very, very potent indeed. So it'll be interesting to see if Sheth does go for that, or if he doesn't, he goes just straight for Broodlords, which will take a lot longer to get out. Now, for the moment, we do have that 4th command center on its way, just in production now. That's, again, BratOK trying to catch up and 4th, 5th base out of Sheth. Sheth already started his 5th base. We do have this medevac drop coming in, and only just now is that Spine and Spore on its way. If the Sporting Pool gets taken out, that'd actually be quite a big loss. And now we do have the Ultras coming and the Spire on its way. Meanwhile, though, down here, Sheth ignoring that drop and is instead just going for so much damage. Such a good bowling point there with all of those Marines. Picks them all off, and now, obviously, there's just a lot of damage being done here. Meanwhile, quite a bit of damage being done up at Sheth's base. He does have some Zerglings coming in. The 2-2 upgrades are done for him. The 2-2 upgrades also done, though, for BratOK, so they are very equal on upgrades. All of these medevacs could go down if the Infestor's got a good fungal growth, and now the spawning pool has gone. That is a big loss for Sheth, because obviously Zerglings are such a key component of his army right now. 3-3 upgrades on their way, great lift. That Queen trying to do some damage, and for the moment it looks like BratOK got away very lightly. He lost an awful lot of units, but ultimately Sheth has lost a lot more, and also a key bit of tech. Double Viking coming down and picking off all of these overlords, and there's just so many overlords here. Sheth does not have overlord speed. That is going to be frustrating for him. A drop coming back into the main. If it picks off that Ultralisk Cavern and or the Spire, that would be a very considerable loss. Those Zerglings should be back in time now. Obviously, just so many Overlords could get taken out here, which would be an absolutely devastating loss for Sheth. Now, obviously, the Queen is there, but those Vikings do have such an incredible range. Now, we do have 5 Ultras in production, the 3-3 upgrades on their way. For the moment, it does seem that BratOK is being forced to pull back. Those Vikings will not get taken down by the Infestors, but with Chain Fungals, which uses an awful lot of energy, that is never what you really want to do, is waste too much energy on just picking off 2 units. But that was a great move in my opinion. Sheth does have an excess of Overlord, so it's okay at the moment. And now an awful lot of Zerglings on the way through. The 4th base attempting to be taken, but won't be able to go down for quite a while, as there is so much creep down here right now. Burrow is in research, so those Zerglings can't burrow to be even more irritating and force a second scan. But some Zerglings poking, prodding around. Wall-off is complete to the natural, so that means that really this tank position absolutely ideal. It covers both his 3rd and also his 4th with these, and it's quite nicely spread. But My big concern ultimately is, here come the Ultras, here come the Infestors and a lot of Zerglings. 3-3 is 3/4 done. 3-3 also on its way out for BratOK and is about a third done, as well as the +2 vehicle weapons. So he's upgrading very well. Both these players really dominating their upgrades. The 5th base up and running over Sheth, so he's still a base ahead. And in terms of the work count, it's 70-63. Sheth never really going up past the sort of 75 mark we tend to see. Now some Zerglings are going to attack just into the natural. Some great fun with baiting its core. That was a very cost-effective engagement. Now really, you could actually see here Sheth goes straight up to the main base. He is streaming a lot of additional Zerglings in, but the tanks are in a good position and will for the moment force Sheth back. He doesn't have the best position he could want. That 4th base still not down yet for BratOK. That's going to be irritating. And he's running all of his units back. Where is that drop going off? The drop was in the main. What did he manage to take out? I did miss that for a split second watching all the action down at BratOK's base, but this is doing an awful lot of damage to the 5th base. So many workers getting taken out now. BratOK has actually leveled it up and is now moving out with an awful lot of units. Really doesn't want that 5th base up anymore. The scan going off does tell an awful lot about what could be there, but those medevacs moving forward, they get fungal growth. You don't want to lose your medevacs. They give your infantry so much more use, and Sheth really not feeling confident that he can hold this, and instead is just going to sacrifice it. And obviously at the same time a drop going off in the main, going to pick off the Ultralist cabin unless it's very lucky, and that is going to be a very lucky Ultralist cabin. Now the tanks obviously shelling there, a couple of Marines wandering around, and I'm surprised that Sheth hasn't actually chosen to do a small Zergling run by to BratOK's base, because he's completely undefended by a couple of units, or at least initially it was. If he very quickly counter-attacked, he was very potent indeed. Now the 5th base is now lost to Sheth, but he is retaking a base literally next to his opponent because he's that bold, and Sheth, he's very much looking like he's just going to go and attack, which could be a good move. The Greater Spire is nearly done. That will, of course, allow something. The Ultralist cabin taken down, though, and, of course, the Greater Spire has been completely scouted. And for the moment, BratOK happy with the damage he's done and pulling back, and I think that is a great move. And really, my opinion of the difference between a good and a great player is when they know when to retreat. They've dealt the damage they wanted to do, they've dealt it effectively, and then do run away. And these two players, neither of them, while they both have done some big damage at points, neither have managed to go all the way. Now, high-sec auto-tracking on the way, obviously Terran building armor, as well as Terran vehicle weapons +3 on the way. Those Ultras do have the Ultras armor upgrade. Now these Zerglings are going to do so much damage. I don't know if Adrenal Glands is actually done, I'll have to check that momentarily. But meanwhile, a great move by BratOK is going to go and counter-attack, but so many Broodlords there. I do have to be careful though, those Broodlords are unsupported at the moment, while there are Infestors. Fungal growth can have to be very good for them. The Marines doing too much. The 4th base goes down, and really Sheth is now in a difficult spot because his economy is completely shot to pieces. There's going to be a surround at the moment. They did take out the 4th base on BratOK as well. The tanks there, though, they're going to be a bit of a problem. The Broodlords should deal with those very effectively, forcing an unsiege. The Ultralist on their way in now. A lot of tanks going down, and Sheth just has a lot of momentum right now. Fungal growth on the tanks, they did siege like a fungal growth of all the infantry without the tank support. Well, this infantry is going to go down very quickly indeed, and Sheth doing so much damage right now. But the problem is both these players' income is a bit lower than where they would want it to be. Sheth basically mined out at his natural, his 3rd starting to get a bit low in places, still has quite a few minerals, so should last for a little while, but of course the lack of the 4th base is really going to hurt BratOK, who's completely mined out his 4th. Sheth does ultimately have additional bases on the way, rebuilding that 4th base as well, so can be up to 6 bases. There goes the 5th base, the 6th base nearly coming out, and well, it's a big counter-attack and Zergling run by from Sheth, who's not going to see anything at the moment because the 4th base hasn't been built. Now, I was looking for Adrenal Glands, hasn't been researched. Would love to see Sheth get that out because I think that's such a key upgrade. And well, got a lot of drones, long range mining, because ultimately what else are they going to do? Sheth really under the amount of drones he would necessarily want at this stage. He's got a lot of bang but very low on minerals. That's really what is causing him the problem. And well, we've got an awful lot of Viking coming down now. And that could be a lot of Overlords picked off again. That's annoying and is really forcing Sheth to be mineral stuffed. And he doesn't have an excess anymore, so he could potentially get supply block. This 4th base getting checked yet again. We do have quite a few Banelings, a couple of Corruptors there as well, but too many Vikings for those Corruptors to engage. The Broodlords are going to be the issue, but with so many Vikings, those Broodlords should be taken out relatively easily. Dropping down a great burrow on those drones, preventing them getting picked off. A good use of burrow, we should see a lot of pros do, and really something lower level players can learn from. And it is a very easy technique that if you get dropped, just burrow your drones, and then if it forces a scan again, that's not a mule, so it makes up for it a tiny bit of anything you lose, but generally not too bad. These Vikings are being very aggressive in poking, prodding around. They have scoured this base, which will now be very vulnerable. I believe a tank there would be able to shell drones mining. I say that in a very non-committing way because I'm not entirely sure. I'm judging this by guesstimates. I don't think I've ever cast a game where that has been the situation, or seen a game where that has been shelled from that position. So we will wait and see whether that is utilised by BratOK. Obviously, he does now know that is there. He has put a tank there, and yes, it would have enough range, but only for 3 mil patch. I'm sure over there it would have range for a lot more. But Sheth really giving up the deal there. Ravens, Seeker Missile, and obviously the Corvid reaction coming out, because that is how you deal with the real Zerg death. But Sheth a long way ahead in supply, dropping down some infested turns to soak up some damage. Those Zerglings trying to get a good angle of attack, and Orbital Command here at the fourth now, rather than a Planetary Fortress we had before. Those Vikings are going to try and be potent. The Fungiworks going down, and for the moment, the Broodlord's staying up. It's a good balanced army. There's a lot of everything there, and of course, once this big push comes in, those infestors need to be careful though. They're getting shelled by the tanks. There's nothing going on. And now, obviously, we do have the vision being given by the Vikings. And well, here we go. Those Zerglings are on the way, and they're picking off the tanks with only 2 tanks down here right now, and nothing behind them. This push could be very, very strong indeed. But those Vikings are doing so much damage, and still only 3 Broodlords are out at the moment. No counter pushes coming in or drops, as I can see, which has been very heavy in BratOK style. And in terms of the worker count, 63 to 40. But all of these bases are up at the moment. Yes, these eggs are getting shelled. Yes, it's irritating, but Sheth does have these 2 bases up, which are very, very important. And actually, even the 3rd base now of BratOK nearly mined out. He's relanded that orbital command, but it is in a very vulnerable position. And I really think Sheth is in a good spot right now. If we look at the income, look at how many more mineral income Sheth has compared to BratOK right now. He's absolutely dominating. His gas income's higher as well. And income is really what the late game comes down to. If you've got a better economy than your opponent, you'll be fine. Now, quite a few infested turns getting dropped down here, with the corruptors there as well. That orbital command, I think, will go down. A lot of SCVs dying as well there. Again, we're getting into a position where BratOK is pretty much half the worker supply. We do have a lot of units moving around. Need to be careful though. This base is so oversaturated with all of the SCVs are there. Sheth is really starting to put on the page, and I mean, you can really see that when you look at the vision distance. Sheth sees pretty much everything, BratOK sees very little, and that is the important thing to note. His vision is so critical. Great from the ropes, and infested turns getting lobbed over. The Broodlords will get taken out by that many Vikings. But the Corruptor's doing a good job at the moment, and so many investors. There's the GG from BratOK, who, in all honesty, he put up an amazing fight. I'm amazed he came back as well as he did, and made that game last as long as he managed to. So guys, if you did enjoy the cast, please give the video a thumbs up. That'd be awesome. Please subscribe, because I get new top level games up every single day. Leave a cool comment below about the players, my casting, the game, any games you want me to cast, etc. That would all be great. But overall guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Check out my channel for all my past casts as well. Bye for now.